Bukit Besi is a small and sleepy town in southern Terengganu that was established in the early 20th century. The town served the iron ore mines that once was the largest iron ore mine in Southeast Asia. Bukit Besi was a cosmopolitan mining town located deep in the jungle. Until 1971, Terengganu has had a railway system between the iron ore mines and the coast, unconnected with the rest of the Malayan railway network. What makes Bukit Besi the most important iron ore mine in Southeast Asia during its heyday, when the railway was built, and how the town kept its existence when the iron ore deposits ran out? Let's dive into the sleepy former mining town to understand the importance of Bukit Besi in the 20th century Malaysia. Interior Terengganu was probed since 19th century to discover the potential mining sites of valuable minerals. When Syed Hussein Ghulam Al-Bukhari probed for the tin ore sources in Kuala Berang in the year 1902, he accidentally found the ancient inscribed stone that confirmed the existence of ancient Terengganu. To know more, the link is up here. In 1916, some Mr. Kuhara, a Japanese engineer with his team, probed an area near Bukit Cemuak, Jerangau, and found a sizable iron ore deposit at a hill called Bukit Seri Bangun. 3 years later, another probing expedition was conducted and confirmed the large deposit of iron ore in the area. Mining lease was issued in the year 1929 despite the small-scale iron ore mining has been started years before when the settlement was opened near Bukit Seri Bangun. The name of the settlement changed to Bukit Besi, literally mean Iron Hill, in the year 1931. The mining activities intensified and the company name Kuhara Mining Company was changed to Nippon Mining Company in the year 1932. The mining operation kept running in the midst of the World War II between 1942 until 1945 to supply the Japanese military in their war efforts. After the war ended in the year 1945, the mine was confiscated and the production was halted for 5 years. Later, a British company named Eastern Mining and Metals Company or EMCO bought the mining rights of Bukit Besi in the year 1950. Despite its remote location in the jungle, Bukit Besi was inhabited by multi-ethnic population who were dependent on the iron ore mines for their living. The town was inhabited by the Malays, Chinese, Indian, English, and before the World War II, Japanese. By 1955, 1 million tons of iron ore was transported from Bukit Besi to Dungun, which makes Dungun the second largest port in British Malaya by tonnage after Penang at that time. The iron ore mines at Bukit Besi brought prosperity not only to the Bukit Besi but also to Terengganu and newly independent Malaya and eventually Malaysia. The main reason of why I came and visit Bukit Besi town is because of the town was served by a former railway service operated between 1930 until 1971 called Bukit Besi Railway. Opened in 1930, Bukit Besi Railway was the company-owned railway built to transport the iron ore from the mines to the port of Dungun before the ores were exported abroad. Before 1971, every state in the peninsula was served by the railway service, and railway in Terengganu is the only one that is not operated by state-owned Malayan Railway, today's KTM or Kereta Api Tanah Melayu. I talk about the last express sleeper train in Malaysia where the train passed through the middle of peninsula but not via Terengganu. If you want to watch more about this topic, you can watch the link up here. Bukit Besi Railway was isolated from the rest of the KTM network as the railway only served the iron ore mines in Bukit Besi and the port of Dungun. Before 1932, the railway was only operated until at a riverbank called Pangkalan Cik Lijah before the railway was extended to the port via a tunnel. Bukit Tebuk Tunnel was constructed between 1932 until 1936 and opened in 1936 to ease the transport of iron ore between Bukit Besi and the port in Surah Dungun. The railway was not just carried the iron ores, the machineries for the mines and goods. During its operation, the locals were allowed to embark on the train between Bukit Besi and Dungun, mainly to transport workers to and from the iron ore mines. Often the railway allowed the locals to embark the train to Bukit Besi or Dungun to sell their fresh produce. Unlike Malayan Railway, the railway passenger services between Bukit Besi and Dungun was free to ride. Why free? Because the railway was owned by the mining company and the railway operation was solely covered by iron ore revenue. In the early 1960s, about 2 million tons of iron ore were exported annually via Bukit Besi Railway, when the price of iron ore was $75 US per tonnage, a huge sum of money. Passenger service is more like a complimentary service to serve the workers and also the locals rather than a social responsibility. A responsibility that will disappear when the iron ore deposits start to diminish, thus sparked the end of Bukit Besi Railway and Bukit Besi as a mining town. Over-reliance of iron ore makes Terengganu experience of what the economists call Dutch disease. Coined in 1977 by the Economist magazine, the term Dutch disease appeared when the Netherlands found a large natural gas deposit in Groningen in the year 1959, caused the reliance on natural gas revenue and little focus on other sectors. Iron ore in Bukit Besi makes Terengganu strongly reliant on iron ore revenue as farmers and fishermen earn just enough to survive, what more to pay to the state coffer. By 1970, the fall of global iron ore price in addition to the competition from Australia and Brazilian iron ore mines makes Bukit Besi no longer profitable. In addition, impurities in the form of traces of tin was found in the iron ore mine in Bukit Besi, makes the iron ore less desirable than the pure iron ore mine in Australia. Bukit Besi Mines was closed on the 8th of September 1971, caused the shock to the state economy as the majority of Terengganu state budget rely on iron ore. This is a kind of topic that rarely enters the Malaysian social discourse. What to do before the resources run out? Because it's often that the discussion to salvage the economy and maintain the employment level appeared when the resources run out. A few years after the closure of Bukit Besi mines, Terengganu found another valuable natural resources that the state strongly dependent up to this day. It was the petroleum production offshore of Terengganu that salvaged the economy aftermath of the collapse of iron ore mining. Terengganu produced Tapis crude oil, which contains low sulfur content of 0.04% compared to the standard 0.5% in average crude oil, which makes Tapis crude oil one of the most expensive crude oil in the world. Today, more than 80% of the Terengganu state revenue are from petroleum. As with the iron ore onshore, the petroleum offshore will run out someday as it is a finite resource. The future generation need to decide by themselves. Perhaps it's not up to us to think about the future when the oil runs out, as the time when the iron ore mines were shut down in the year 1971. After the iron ore mine was shut down in the year 1971, Bukit Besi experienced a sharp economic downturn. Railway service was shut down, all the machineries were stopped and the unemployment rate skyrocketed. Thus, there is little incentive available to the miners to remain, thus people emigrated elsewhere. After the railway was closed in the year 1971, the only things that remain from the former railway are its former alignment, which is today a rural road, together with Bukit Tebuk Tunnel that is repaved to allow the road vehicles to use the tunnel. Bukit Besi might end up as a ghost town, as what happened to the former tin mining town of Sungai Lembing in Pahang and Papan in Perak. In the year 1973, Central Terengganu Development Authority or Ketengah was established to open up the interior land for palm oil plantation. After the closure of the railway, a highway was built next to the town, known as Cerangau Jabur Highway, part of Federal Route 14. As a result, Bukit Besi has changed from the mining town to the palm oil town, a small town with basic amenities located near the main road. Even the road layout has been redesigned suitable with its new road. However, the iron ore deposit do not completely disappear in southern Terengganu. According to Australian-based iron mining company Viper, Terengganu is assumed to have 50 million tons of good quality iron ore waiting to be mined from under the earth. Several companies are vying to obtain the mining license to extract the iron ore. Even if iron ore mining rejuvenated in southern Terengganu, one thing will remain for sure. Bukit Besi Railway will never be resurrected for two reasons. One, road is cheaper to build and cheaper to maintain than the railway. After the completion of Jerangau-Jabur Highway in the year 1979, road becomes the main connection between interior Terengganu and the coastal area. As the road makes iron probing areas more accessible, interest to redevelop iron ore mining increased with the increase of global iron ore price and the completion of East Coast Expressway in the year 2015. I talked about East Coast Expressway in the previous video where the expressway construction faced numerous challenges, expected and unexpected. If you want to know more, there are 2 episodes of this. Watch number 1 and watch number 2 to understand the whole story, the whole journey. Link up here. 2. The upcoming East Coast Rail Line or ECRL will serve Terengganu and 2 East Coast states of Pahang and Kelantan. The standard gauge rail will connect Kuala Lumpur with the state capitals, industrial areas and major towns on the East Coast. As Bukit Besi is no longer a major town, ECRL will serve nearby Dungon where its former port used to export iron ore from the inland until the 1970s. Today, Bukit Besi is a quiet small town surrounded by palm oil trees and small iron ore mines. After the depletion of iron ore deposits, the main economic activities of Bukit Besi are palm oil, lumber and higher education. Despite the depleted iron ore, there is small-scale mining activities remain, albeit not as intensive as its heyday. Thanks to the historical legacy of large-scale mining, Bukit Besi slowly redevelops as a heritage town, with the remaining ruins are preserved as a tourist attraction. What left of former Bukit Besi Railway are long disappeared. Thus, locomotive 19103 was salvaged from KTM depot in Batu Gajah, Perak to be restored and exhibited in front of Bukit Besi Museum, a symbolic legacy of the former iron ore railway. Remaining sites such as crushing plant and Opal station are preserved as a proof of the past mining activities in Bukit Besi. However, during my time of the visit, the area was fenced up and the gate to the crushing plant was closed. My soul was crushed. Only a few old ruins, chimneys and an old locomotive are all remain of what used to be one of the largest iron ore mines in Southeast Asia that were closed more than 50 years ago. Together with Bukit Tebuk Tunnel in Dungon that has been restored in the year 2022 as a historical tourist attraction, a silent reminder of Bukit Besi as a bustling mining town with a railway on its heyday. If you want to visit Bukit Besi, the town is located next to Jerangau-Jabur Highway. By private vehicle, the town is located about 4 kilometers from East Coast Expressway interchange of Bukit Besi. There is no regular express bus service in Bukit Besi. It is advisable to visit with a private vehicle or arrange a taxi. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new about Bukit Besi and its past glory as a bustling mining town deep in the jungle. Thank you so much for watching again and see you in the next video.